So as you guys know, I do a lot of beam shot videos with flashlights, and I needed a high definition camcorder. I was using an older camcorder a long time ago, but it was not high definition, so I needed to stop using it, in other words. So I started using my phone for a while, which obviously was not good for night shot or beam shot videos. I do a lot of beam shot videos because I do a lot of flashlight reviews. And 90% of those flashlight reviews require going outside somewhere and doing beam shot videos. And I was using an older Sony camcorder for the longest time, and it wasn't high definition, so I had to finally ditch that camcorder. So I bought the Samsung HMX F90, which is the one you see on the left. And it has some of the absolute worst night shot I've ever seen in my entire life. I've had several different camcorders over the course of 5 or 6, 7 years, and this thing's just horrible. If you have somewhat moderately dark or semi-dark areas and you're filming with this camcorder, it's not even going to pick it up. It's going to show up as a black screen, even if you've got the exposure turned all the way up. It's just terrible. And so I was using my cell phone for the longest time, my iPhone, and those obviously don't get very good beam shot videos as well. So I had to get something different. I needed something different. I needed a high definition camcorder. So this is the HDR-CX405, the Sony HDR-CX405. This thing is phenomenal. It's got fantastic night shot, and I'll show you guys later on in a separate video. But this is basically just a quick review of this particular camcorder. If you're filming average, everyday stuff like baby's first steps or daddy's first burnout in Mustang or Camaro, whatever, then this camcorder is perfect for you. But if you're recording something at night or even in the dark, somewhat dark, even if it's 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night and it's semi-dark outside, no good. Absolutely not good. And I thought it'd be great. I mean, the Samsung, the F90 has a CMOS sensor in it. It's got a supposedly highly sensitive CMOS sensor in there, but it's not very good. So we're gonna throw this in the trash right now. See you watching the trash can. It's basically Sony's cheapest camcorder, I believe. I think you can pick this up for like 180 bucks. But yet the night shot is literally, and I say literally, this is not a joke, I'm not exaggerating, it's literally 5 times better than the F90 Samsung. By the way, I owe the credit of this video to my girlfriend. Compliments to her. Special thanks to my girlfriend. She got this for me for Christmas because she knows I do a lot of beam shot videos, and I needed a new camcorder. So, full 1080. I could have taken it out of the box when I first got it, done an unboxing video, but what's the point? I wanted to make a review. I actually originally wasn't going to make a review of this camcorder, but this thing is still being produced. You can still buy this thing brand new. Sony still does put out the HDR-CX405, so better time to, or not. What's a better time to do a review than if they're still making the product, right? Unboxing, take all the stuff out. It does come with a lot of instructions, but I've had a lot of camcorders in my life, so I don't need to read them. You have your HDMI plug right there, which I believe it is. Yes. No, that's the USB charge. Okay. It does not come with an HDMI. Keep that in mind. It does come with a battery though, and it does not come with a memory card, so you'll need to purchase a memory card. 60-time cleared optical zoom, which is great. It does come with all the things that Sony is well known for. The Carl Zeiss lens, Bion ZX, XMOR sensor, CMOS sensor, full HD, 50 megabyte per second high bit rate. So you have all this good stuff. 9.2 megapixel, no image recording, or still image recording. MP4 dual recording, which is great. You can actually record 2 separate videos at the same exact time. One is in low quality or low bit rate or low memory, and the other one is full HD. So you can share it on Facebook or whatever, and you can have the other one for your awesome memories. You know, instead of getting that Samsung, I should have immediately bought a Sony camcorder. Dolby Digital Stereo Creator. M2. Now, I thought this was kind of cool. The M2 are usually what you see in a lot of the Sony cameras. The M2 has pretty much been famous for, well, mostly just Sony products. But the M2 is not really around very much. It's kind of hard to find M2 memory cards because they kind of stopped making them. They still have them, but they're kind of expensive and, well, they're kind of on their way out, I think. AVC HD progressive. So this camera is actually cool because it can actually take 2 different types of memory cards. So as you open this thing up, now remember there is no off switch, so as soon as you open the screen it turns on. So you can see here that it actually takes micro SD and the M2, so you have it's a very versatile you know, system you have here. I actually have a mini SD in there right now because SDs are a little cheap. So there is no on-off switch. Keep that in mind. The camera turns on as soon as you open the actual screen. So there's no off switch. There's no on switch. It's a very simple camcorder. It really is. I don't need anything too fancy, to be honest. You have your zoom here, zoom out, zoom in, photo, recording, built-in USB charge port right here, so you can actually charge it right through the actual strap here. And if this thing happens to fail on you, you can always take the battery out and charge it on a separate charger. Oops, I usually have that closed. We'll leave that open. Nice little Carl Zeiss optics on there. Your microphones, left and right. Now, like I said earlier, the cool thing about this camcorder is you can actually use M2 and micro SD, which is great, because I probably imagine most of you guys have micro SD cards. HDMI out. Speaker, of course, if you want to view your videos back. You know, because of this very reason is why I'm probably always going to go with Sony. I've always loved Sony. I have a TV, one of the first HD TVs that came out literally 12 years ago. And it's used almost every single day since I bought it 12 years ago. And it still works flawlessly. So Sony makes an awesome product. So you have your multi area right here. Tripod mount. Now there's something interesting that I thought I'd show you guys. Now of course here is your battery area. That's where the battery goes. It does come with a 1200 and I believe 50, a 1240 milliamp battery. So this is actually a pretty good capacity. I actually ran this thing for about 20 minutes last night, and the battery was still full. So now I thought this was interesting. I can't seem to find anything online that says anything about this, but does this not look like a spot for a spare battery, an extra battery to sit in case this one runs down? It looks like one, doesn't it? But I've tried everything you can possibly think of, and I can't get this out of here. I don't want to break it, but it even wiggles. It even wiggles like it wants to come out, and it's exactly the same size as this battery. So it looks like a secondary spot for another spare battery, but I can't get it out. And I don't know if that's exactly what it is. It even has a little arrow. So maybe you guys can enlighten me and help me out. I don't want to break this thing, and I'm not going to try messing with it anymore, but it does wiggle like it wants to come out, and I've tried everything. It doesn't come out. Shooting mode, camera, microphone, there's all your settings. Exposure, white balance, focus. I use the exposure setting a lot when I'm making beam shot videos. So it does actually have a low lux mode that you can turn on. So when it's really dark, you can turn that low lux mode on and it picks up things in the dark much better. However, the image quality does suffer just a little bit, so keep that in mind. As you guys can expect, it's like turning the slow shutter on the older camcorders. It's basically what that is. So you have your toy mode, pop, posterization, retro, soft high key, partial color, and of course your high contrast mono, which would be basically black and white. Image quality, you can go to recording mode. You can choose from between high quality, highest quality, you got FX and FH. Long play, which is basically gonna probably cut it down to 480 or something like that. That's if you need to record something for a very long time. Of course, you don't have a whole lot of memory left. Standard, which is not high definition, it's just high quality. Those two, I believe, are high definition. That might be 720, and that might be 1080. Frame rate, choose between 60i and 60p. Obviously 60i is, well, the difference really is kind of like motion blur, I guess. It's the best way I can explain it. On 60i, it looks like it's normally recording the way it would normally record. And then 60p is kind of like you see those motion blur cameras or motion blur on TVs. Basically just looks like that. It doesn't take up any more memory. 60i and 60p. I noticed that on 60i and 60p it's both, well, it basically records at 25 minutes, so it doesn't really take up any more memory than it normally would. Dual recording mode off. You can choose between if you want to record the low quality and high quality at the same time, or just the high quality normally. File format, XAVC SHD, and then the AVC HD. Usually just have it on that. Image size. So that is your still camera. So here is the size comparison. This is the Sony, of course, the HDR-CX405, and here is the old camcorder that I was using for my beam shot videos several years ago. It's amazing how much technology has changed, and a lot of people would prefer to use their phones for recording video, but there are a lot of things. I can see why camcorders are probably still popular and probably will still continue to be made, because there are a lot of things that camcorders can do that phones simply can't. One of the biggest things, obviously, is optical zoom. You'll never get a 60-time optical zoom on a smartphone. It's just not possible. There's not enough room for that lens to move. So here's the charge cable for the new CX405. Here's the charge port. Of course, you plug that into the charge port. Bing! And see how small that is. Very compact, easy to store somewhere. And to give you another size, comparison, here is the charge cable on the older camcorder. Look at that thing. It's amazing. This is the charge cable for the old camcorder, and this is for the new. It just, I mean, look at that. That's insane. So yeah, that's basically just a quick review. So if you guys have any questions, of course, reach me in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.